Hey guys, so a lot of you really struggle to get into this deep squat position. A lot of us haven't done it for decades, and after having a baby, this can feel like a bit of a shock to the system. Everything feels a little bit tight, but it's a great movement to do. It's a great position to get into. It requires lots of ankle mobility, knee mobility, hip mobility, moves all of those joints through full range of motion. It also stretches out the lower back, it stretches out the glute muscles, it stretches out the pelvic floor. It's just all round a really good position to get into, a good exercise to do, a good mobility drill. But it is a bit of a struggle to get into sometimes, especially after having a baby, when we haven't done it for that period of time, that postpartum period, while we're still healing, while our pelvic floor is still healing. Or the C-section scar, nobody's getting into this position after having a C-section. And like I said, many of us won't have done it for decades. So what I'm going to do is take you through a little routine to just start loosening up all of those joints and to help you get into this deep squat and feel more comfortable here. So just a nice sequence, follow along with me and just use it separate from your workouts to just improve mobility in all of these joints. Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start standing and we're going to start by just warming up the hips, okay? So making big circles like you probably did in PE class when you were a kid. Okay, just nothing particularly exciting here. Just starting to warm those muscles up, warm the joint up, lubricate the joint a little bit. And we're going to go inwards. Okay, it's good to. Oh, it's a bit harder to do for balance. It's a bit harder. It's just good to start getting all of that area warm before we start trying to get into the deep squat, especially if that's a bit of a struggle. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is just some standing pelvic tilts, okay? So we're going to stick our bum out, arch our back, and tilt our pelvis forward, okay? So imagine your pelvis is like a wine glass, and you're tipping it forward so that wine pours out the front of the glass, okay? And then you're going to tuck your bum under and pour wine out the back. Okay, so if I get my hands out the way so you can see what I'm doing. So you're tipping it forward, pouring the wine out the front, and then tipping it back. And obviously your spine moves with that, because your spine's connected to your pelvis. This is sometimes the problematic bit in getting into that squat. Okay, so just moving that pelvis, having a bit of control over that pelvis is a good thing to be able to do anyway. Okay, coming down onto the floor, we're going to move our hips. We're just going to move our hips from side to side here. Okay, so kind of rolling our hips out. Okay, so you want to keep your bum cheeks down on the floor as much as possible. You're kind of rolling your knee in. Okay, so I'm kind of trying to get my knee as far down to the floor as I can. And you feel a weird stretch in all the joint. Okay, so we're not kind of just twisting our whole body and lifting our bum cheek up so we can get the knee down on the floor. Keep the movement honest. This is internal rotation of that hip. And then we're going to do the opposite. We're going to lie on our back and just do some outward rotation. Okay, so just pumping the hip like this. One foot on the opposite knee and just opening up like this. And if you're flexible enough, you can bring your foot in towards here. I feel a nice stretch in my bum there. And just you can play around with the hip a little bit here. And then to the other side. Now on the other side, I have a really dodgy hip, and this is really hard for me to do. Okay, so I've got nowhere near as much range of motion. And like you saw, I could pull my foot in close here. I just can't do that on this side. And you'll see that come a few times. So this is external rotation of the hip. Okay, so we stretched out the internal rotation, now we're stretching out the external rotation. Okay, so squats require lots of ankle mobility as well. So we're going to start mobilizing our ankles. We're going to start here by just moving this, going a bit actively through this flex and point. Okay, and then we'll do something a little bit more aggressive on that. So switching over to the other side. Okay, just starting to move through that range of motion. Start to warm, again, warming that joint up, getting all the fluid in the joint warmed up. And then we're going to come and sit up. And I'm going to do an ankle stretch, okay? So foot on the floor, and you're going to put your weight, that knee going straight over the toe. You know, put your weight on that knee, okay? So the other foot is out the way, and you keep that heel down on the floor. You should feel a really big stretch up through your Achilles heel and all the way up into your calf, okay? So you hang out here. You want your knee to go past your toe. You know, this is called dorsiflexion, and we want a good angle here. A lot of us are kind of stuck over here. So you can just rock in and out of that. And just hang out here just a little bit, just to let it stretch out. Okay, let's switch to the other side. So get this foot out the way, and if you've got a pinch in your hip, just kind of clear some of the tissue out the way, and then lean forward over this toe. So we'll start by rocking a little bit, rocking out of it, and then try and get that foot, that knee as far as you can over the toe. We're not just lifting the heel up though. Keep that heel down on the floor. We're rocking back and forth. Okay, and then we're just going to lean forward over that knee. Weight on the knee. Just feel that stretch. Okay, so from here, what we're going to do, we're going to go back onto the other side, and we're going to go into a deep lunge. Maybe I'll show you from this side. Okay, so we're gonna bring our foot forward, and our opposite hand in line with the foot. Okay, and then I just want you to push your knee out a little bit. Okay, and if this hurts, you can put a cushion on the other side. Okay, just rocking your knee out a little bit like this. And then what we're going to try and do is that elbow on the same side. We're going to try and get it down towards the floor, and then open up. Okay, and what you might be able to do is get the opposite elbow down on the floor. Oh. Okay, so we're starting to get more hip flexion. Okay, and try and get your body down towards the floor. Try and get that elbow down towards the floor. I can't quite get there. And then lifting up here. Okay, so twisting through that. This is my good side as well. You'll see me on my bad side in a minute. I've got no chance of getting anywhere near here. Okay, so you should feel a big stretch in here, in the inside of your hip. Okay, and if I just show you from the front. Okay, I won't be able to see that very well. Okay, but just getting my foot out the way here, getting this hand down as far as I can towards the floor. And you can hang out up here, or you can bring that elbow down towards the floor. Right, let's do the other side. So take my left foot forward. I just did it with my right foot forward, and then I'm going to try and, first of all, I'm going to just try and put my hand on the sofa. I'm going to try and get this hip, just move this hip into external rotation a little bit. This hip is particularly tight for me. I'm just going to push it out, and then I'm just going to rock forward into it a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to bring that opposite hand down, so my right hand down, and I'm just going to twist in and up. So each time I come in, I'm going to try and get my elbow down as close as I can to the floor to push my knee out a little bit, and then I'm twisting and lifting up. Okay, so going in and out of it rather than just hanging out in that position. We'll hang out there in just a second, but twisting first. Okay, this is my really tight side. I'm nowhere near getting down towards the floor with my elbow. Okay, and then you're just going to hang out there a little bit. Just wiggle around here. See if you can increase that range of motion just a little bit. Okay, this kind of happy hip sequence. so I'm starting to feel like it's loosening up just a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to go into a pigeon. Haven't even done a squat yet, we'll get there in just a moment. So what we're going to do here is just twist into, I'm going to do my good side first. You want your shin perpendicular to your body, and then you're just going to rock in and out, and the opposite leg just here out of the way. And you're just going to rock into it and back out of it. Okay, there are different ways of doing a pigeon. You can do it in that lunge position as well. We're going to do it like this and just rock in and out of it. Trying to keep that opposite bum cheek still down on the floor, so we're trying to keep our chest square to the floor. Okay, so keep really honest in that movement. And again, we're just going to move in and out of it. Again, getting into external rotation. Okay, and then we're going to switch to the other side. I'm just going to go up and down in this movement again. I don't know if you can see how different those two sides are for me, but that's a real struggle for me. I'm really stuck here. I'm really bad external rotation on that hip. And at the end of the day, it's not that big a deal for a squat because we only need a bit of external rotation. Okay, just one more of these. Awesome, where are we? Okay, so now we're going to come into our deep squat. Maybe we haven't done that yet. Just wiggle into this deep squat and push your knees out a little bit. And also play around with your foot position. If your feet are too close together, it feels really hard to do. So maybe it feels more comfortable for you to take your feet wider. Okay, so just wiggling around here and pushing those knees out. And then what we're going to do is come into a forward bend. So hands down on the floor and just do a forward bend. And we're just going to go back and forth between the forward bend and the squat. This is really nice to wiggle into that position. Okay, play around with your foot position. Awesome, okay, and come and face forward. Lots and lots and lots of exercises in this little sequence. We're going to roll our knees in now. Okay, so the trick here is keep your heel on the floor and we're rolling the knee in. Okay, so if you lift your heel up, but you get your knee down on the floor, it's not doing what we want it to do. We want to keep that heel down. And if you need to, you can support yourself with your hands on the floor. You might be stuck here, it's totally fine, okay? Just a little bit of internal rotation again. Okay, so just testing ourselves at that end range of motion. You'll also get a bit of ankle mobility as you go onto the opposite side and you put your weight onto each foot. Oh, okay, sitting down on your bum, we're going to do a little butterfly. So squeezing your bum, holding the soles of your feet together, you're going to squeeze your bum and pull your knees down towards the floor and then let it go. Okay, so we're going to do this a few times. Sometimes, well, the bum muscles pull the knees out in the squat. Squeeze your bum, so this is sometimes what's weak. So this allows you to really squeeze those muscles, really activate those muscles, makes it easier to hold that squat. Okay, last one. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze and pull your knees down towards the floor and let go. Okay, we've got 3 more movements to do. What I want you to do now is we're going to wiggle down into that deep squat and then you're going to stand all the way back up out of it. Okay, so your back's going to round, going all the way down into the squat. It's going to be a deeper squat than you would usually do a squat as an exercise. And then you're going to try and push your chest up towards the ceiling and push yourself out of it. And really pay attention to your knees. So just really sit down into that squat, bounce a little bit, and really push those knees out as you stand up. Okay, don't let them fall in. Okay, so we're working those muscles through full range of motion. Okay, being able to get all the way out from that deep squat. Just 2 more of these. Wiggle around a little bit. Push yourself out. Last one. Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to do a Cossack slide. This is the most challenging of all of the exercises in this series. Oh, I got a bit dizzy. I'm going to come down onto one leg and have the opposite leg out here. Okay, there's a bunch of different mobility exercises you can do in this Cossack squat position. So ideally what I want you to do is get your body weight over your heel, your knee out from your body, and you're going to slide over to the other side. Okay, if you're not here yet, if you're not able to do this, keeping your bum as close as you can to the floor, you can use your hands and bring your bum up out of it a little bit, and then sit down into it, trying to get your whole foot on the floor, knee not falling in, knee pushing out, and just use your hands to support you. Okay, so bum out of it and then back down onto the floor. If you can, you're just going to slide along the bottom, but if you need to, you're just going to take yourself out of it and then try and sit down into this squat position. It just takes our ankle, our knee and our hip into that squat position. That's a little bit more aggressive than the squat itself. Okay, come on out of that. Last one. Whew, the hips are feeling nice and open now. We're just going to sit down in this deep squat, and all we're going to do this time is just squeeze our bum and pull our knees out as far as we can. You should feel a stretch on the inside of your thighs, and then let it go. Okay, so squeeze the bum and pull the knees out as far as you can. You should feel your bum really on fire, and just let it go. Just relax. Okay, really good squeeze. 3 more of these. Let it go. Again, these are the muscles that are often weak and the reason why the knees fall in. So just to activate those muscles, just feel them working. Last one. Really good squeeze. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And let go. And that's it. That's just a little, quite a big sequence just to work through all of the sticky bits in the deep squat position and help you get into that more easily. So throw this into your workout a couple of times a week if you do struggle with the squat, and your squat mobility should improve pretty quickly.